Well, we're another week into the election cycle, and the Wisconsin primary is now in the history books. Carl, any surprises for you?
No surprises for me. Bernie won it. People were pretty much predicting that Bernie would win the Democratic portion of it. Mm-hmm. Cruz won the Republican portion. I think by the time that the election was actually held, that most folks were predicting Cruz would win. I mean, Cruz is up there going, "Oh, this is a turning point for the anti-Trump and all that stuff." I don't think it is. No. I think he's going to claim it is. He has to claim it is because he wants momentum out of it. But Trump still has, by far and away, the lead in delegates. He still has the most likely chance of winning the primary. And if he doesn't, then the Republican interactive circus that their primaries turn out to be will just continue on to the convention. On the Democratic side, I think Hillary's starting to get a little worried about Bernie there. He's won the last 7 out of 8 primaries.
I think Hillary should be worried.
She should be worried. And I think a lot of people are feeling the burn.
Are you feeling the burn?
I am personally feeling the burn. Now, my favorite was the guy who didn't run. It was Biden. But him not running, I'm perfectly happy with Bernie.
He didn't run yet.
Yeah, he ain't
if Hillary gets indicted,
then Bernie will get it.
He'll get it.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the only thing that will keep Hillary from getting it. As much as I like Bernie, I don't think he'll get it. But I'm okay with Hillary.
How do you feel about the fact that whole socialist tag at the end of his name?
I think that was an unwise choice of words on his part because we're a semi-socialist country right now anyway. So we might as well just fess up to it. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. And apparently it's not bothering a lot of voters either.
Do you think he can pay for all the stuff he wants to pay for? How's he going to do that? How's he going to give free college? How's he going to do all that?
Piece of heck out of me.
Okay. But isn't that an important...
that is the most honest answer.
Isn't that an important point?
Well, it is an important point, but the fact is that once you start governing, you start looking at things, you start working on programs. He's not going to get free college, but it's something to work toward.
Okay.
That type of thing.
So we don't hold him accountable to anything he says he's going to do.
Of course he's held accountable, just like anybody is.
Okay.
And he fills his promises just like any politician does.
Well, the New York primaries come up in 2 weeks, so Byrne and Trump are in the lead right now in the polls. And Byrne's got a good lead over Hillary.
Yeah,
that's her home state. Well,
one of them. He may still have a bit of a tough time there, but I think Donald's going to have a fairly easy time in New York.
New York,
you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know, obviously, you're not a Donald fan, or maybe you are.
I'm not a Donald fan. I dislike Cruz even more than Donald, but...
do you think Donald will win the Republican side?
I think if he doesn't, no one will.
Okay.
And you'll wind up with a wackadoo convention, which the world hasn't seen in quite some time. You'll find somebody besides Trump and somebody besides Cruz winning it because
I think it'll be
for whatever odd twist of fate, the Republicans put up as the two front runners people that Republicans can't stand. So they're not going to win the convention. Somebody else will win that convention unless Trump goes into it with his majority.
Well, and
if he does, watch for a lot of people to just sit on their hands come November.
Yeah. I think that the whole Trump-Cruz thing is about the significant divide in the Republican Party, because you have some of the party that are off on the Tea Party side that are ultra-conservative, and I'll call them right-wingers. Okay, no disparaging, not trying to be disparaging, but right-wingers, and then you have the more centrists who are like me, quite frankly, and Trump scares the hell out of me, and I'll be very honest about that.
That's because he's an odd phenomenon. He has such a strange.
But the reality is
power base. I mean,
he does.
Hard to
but
put
the
your finger on
reality
it.
is he is outside of the political norm. He's an outsider. He speaks his mind, sometimes to a fault, many times to a fault.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, I couldn't vote for Cruz. I couldn't. I don't believe him, number one. And the whole trust Ted, you don't want to play that one on me because I don't trust Ted.
Yeah. No, neither do I.
Well, I think that, a lot of it, a lot of the reason that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders both have a lot of support is because they are both anti-establishment candidates. Neither of them are actually supported by the establishment of their respective parties.
Isn't Trump closer to the establishment than what Ted Cruz is?
There's some good debate on that. I've actually seen a lot of people that believe that Ted Cruz is being put in there just purposely by the establishment now to mess up Donald Trump's chances.
Well, they're certainly starting to fall behind him, but that's not a like Cruz type of thing, though.
Right.
That's a hate Trump type of thing.
Right.
And that's a sad place for any organization.
It's funny. I actually saw a poll, talking about anti-establishment. I saw a poll where I believe it was around 10% that Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate, actually was getting in a national poll. Now, that was just a single poll, granted, but that's a pretty significant number for a third party.
It is, yeah.
Trump has really not had a good couple of weeks, though. I mean, you think about the abortion thing and the want to punish women, and
it's all stuff he can recover from.
And he admits it too. He had a bad week.
Yeah.
I mean, and arguably, if abortion is against the law and somebody breaks the law, then theoretically, yes, there should be punishment associated with that. The question is it the doctor? Is it the woman? Is it how does that all happen? I don't know. But that one, the going back on the pledge that if he doesn't win the Republican nomination, he won't run as a
But
independent.
his backers don't care about that. I
No, I
think his
don't think
backers
they do
are actually
either.
like it. And I think all of this anti-Trump, you're not hearing a lot of pro-Cruz stuff. You're hearing a lot of anti-Trump stuff. And I think that's just going to solidify his backing. And I think that will probably drive a few more independents toward his direction.
And potentially a couple of Democrats.
Blue collar.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, you got some Democrats out there who are wacky
But
too.
the GOP's they created Trump. And now all this rhetoric against Trump, just draws people more to Trump because people are tired of the Washington, D.C. politics.
Yeah.
And all the lies.
I agree.
Who's the lie? Who's ruined America? Not Trump. D.C. politics.
Yeah.
And party neutral.
Yes.
Republican, Democrat, you name it. We have sealed our own fate on that. The current issue with the electing or appointing a new Supreme Court justice is a perfect example.
Yep, prime example.
The Democrats are all up in arms saying, my goodness, he has to appoint someone. Well, guess what? When Bush was in, they said, well, he can appoint someone. It's an election year. That's crazy.
Yeah,
You know what? If you've
has
got
always
the
been
job,
a political football.
But here's the deal. If you've got the job, whether you've got it for the next 6 months or the next
That's right.
4 years, you ought to be able to do your job.
That's right.
Because at what point does it become, well, the election was yesterday, we can't appoint another Supreme Court justice till the next guy gets elected.
But that's a holdover from the Tea Party gathering so much power from when Boehner was the
But
Speaker
it
of the
wasn't
House.
the Tea Party at that point because Joe Biden brought it up when George Bush was president.
It's always been a
Harry
football.
Reid as well.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is these idiots, and I'm going to use the term idiots, put these crazy things in place when they're in power, and then they want to fight against them when the other guy's in power.
There's nothing really in
Well,
place.
and it's really sad. Congress.
But look at Senate rules. Look at some of the Senate rules that were put in place by the Republicans that are now. The Republicans are saying, well, you shouldn't have that. Well, wait a minute. You're the one that got the dang rule put in place.
Well, and Congress has, a horrible approval rating, and yet they have a remarkably high reelection rate.
I know, isn't that sad?
What's wrong with that
Isn't
picture?
That sad?
It's very sad.
and this whole thing with the rules around the Republican convention, if that's not the biggest cluster,
Those are
in my
changed every
life.
convention.
I understand
Yeah,
that, but
those are
what
changed.
kind of a system is that?
I know.
What happened to one person, one vote?
Oh, no, not in the primaries. No. We've never had that in the primaries.
Okay, well, you know what?
I mean, look at the Democratic side. Clinton gets 300 superdelegates right off the top.
No, I get that.
I'm hopeful.
But that could
I'm
work
not saying
against
it's
her.
right.
That could work against her.
It
if
might
you
have
think
been.
about
They
it.
could just switch over to Bernie.
They could.
I am very
They could.
hopeful in that this is going to be a year for third parties to shine. I think that Libertarian candidate is going to get a large number of votes in the general election.
What they need to do is they need to get one or two congressmen elected at the very least.
Yep.
They need to get they're never going to get a president elected until they start electing smaller offices, and that's what they need to concentrate on.
They are going to impact the election, but they're going to throw it one way or the other. They're not going to get elected.
Right.
That's
oh,
the
no,
problem.
they're not going to get elected,
And
but
I would
they're going to
argue
get
that's
a
more
significant
dangerous
amount
than
of
them.
votes.
I think what will happen is the Democratic candidate's going to win, and it's going to win by a rather large margin, and the independent candidate's not going to matter a whole lot in this particular election one way or another, although this is certainly a good time for them to showcase their thoughts.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting election season.
Yes.
I think we can all agree to that. And I think we're about out of stuff to talk with.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Up next, could a new Maryland bill impact our highway funding? We'll be back in 3 minutes.